Welcome to Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. A look at modern and retro games with a dark sense of humor. Introducing your hosts, Steve.
Well, I'm a wreck now.
Harry.
Put it in my mouth.
Clark.
That man had one testicle and hit home runs, goddammit.
And Joe.
This went off the rails very quickly.
Let's start the show.
Welcome back to another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast. Go! Threw a little twist at you guys there.
I know.
I wasn't ready for that.
Twist it.
Didn't even see that go
twist
coming.
it.
Bop it. Spin it. Assassinate it. What?
Across from me, I have Steve.
I'll consider her dead when I leave.
And to my right, Mr. Joe.
She rejects the power, not the responsibility.
Sure, I'll just take Steve's.
Across from me also is Harold.
I find it's best to wait for the perfect kill.
I don't know why, but I've always trusted a man who could throw a knife. So, like you probably all guessed, because that's very, very transparent, tonight we're going to be reviewing Hitman 3, the newest iteration IOI Interactive.
You glitched out there for a second.
Yeah, sorry about that. But first,
A word from our sponsor.
Deep Creek Glassworks.
Since 2013, Deep Creek Glassworks has been bringing handcrafted, durable works of art for you to enjoy and your loved ones and everybody you fucking know.
Jesus.
I
Get
know.
everyone some glass.
Yeah, because it looks really cool, whether you want to like drink wine out of it, whether you want to wear it as like a pendant, if you want it for a straw so that way you can go green and make sure you're not getting like shit it's stuck in it when you run it through the dishwasher. That was a bad story to hear. Someone got a piece of pasta stuck in their metal straw in the dishwasher, didn't know about it, went for liquid, got a solid.
Yikes.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's their fault in the first place, though.
It is, because there's things to clean them. But you can get around
But
that.
who's using straws on spaghetti? Who's that guy?
You know what? That's
It's
a
more
very
efficient.
That guy's a clown.
Oddly enough, it was at the circus that I heard this.
Yeah, I bet it was.
It's great.
And which side of the bars were you on?
Oh, look at you. Oh man. It's because I'm the sideshow. Is that it? Yeah.
Anyway, Deep Creek Glassworks.
Yeah. So you need to go check them out on
Nightmare to edit.
it wasn't that bad. Go check them out on Etsy, Instagram, Facebook, or on their website, deepcreekglassworks.com, work spelled WORX. And if you use our promo code SUPERFUN, you will receive 10% off of your first purchase, which will arrive to you with free shipping in...
Shripping. Free shripping!
You get... and with that-
Incorporation
With every order, you get 3 pieces of shrimp. It's pretty cool. And all of that arrives to you in crush-resistant boxes. Go ahead and try it. I dare you. You'll probably end up crushing it after enough time. But
Someone just runs it over with their truck.
you said it wasn't able to be
You're
crushed.
a phony.
So be sure to go check out deepcreekglassworks.com. Work spelled WORX.
Today. And tomorrow.
And next week. Every day.
Bi-monthly.
You're bi-monthly.
Yep.
Initial impressions. I'm fine with it.
All right.
Yeah, so being my first Hitman game that I've played, because I haven't played any of them, that was a little like, where am I going type of thing. But eventually I'm like, we'll just stick with this. If it's the right one, cool. And I was at least excited to actually have a reason to play these. Not like I was avoiding it for any reason, but it made me do it.
Harry?
So my initial impression, I always kind of had a feeling I knew what these games were all about, and then I played it, and I was like, yep, I knew exactly what this game was all about. I'll be honest, I don't like stealth games that much, so I decided not to play it as a stealth game. And that is my initial impression.
Which you can opt to do.
Yeah.
Joe?
Also, first Hitman series, just again, is honestly the same sentiment Harry had. Like, I barely like those missions in other games when it's like onesie twosie in the campaign. Not really seeking out an entire game for it.
Fair enough. I've played a ton of the Hitman games. I've been playing them since PS2, so I've been just, every once in a while check in, like see what the series is up to and stuff like that. I did play Hitman 1 originally, but I had it on disc, so it doesn't like unlock for the it's dumb. But so I've played now all 3 of these.
Okay.
Of the new ones, and they do hold up to the old classics, in my opinion.
Do they have offshoots as well? This feels a lot like the Assassin's Creed games, where they have like a main series and then offshoots.
No, it's just Hitman.
Is
It's
it?
just the Hitman
Okay.
games.
At least just kind of like looking through some of the different things, it looks like there's like side missions and stuff you can do, like side levels, I guess, or like bonus level type things.
Oh, yeah, but it's all contained in the game itself.
Okay.
He's saying more like, is there like an Assassin's Creed like Brotherhood?
Yeah.
Instead of like Assassin's Creed 1, 2, and 3. There was things like Hitman Blood Money, but it was just the next one. They wanted to get away from naming them after like the numbers. And then with the new ones, they decided to encompass, they kind of like retold 47's story. And they updated the graphics and, did all of the new stuff for it and did all new locations and things like that. And expanded upon it.
Yeah, except for that one side where you played an armadillo that just went around trying to take people out. I mean, it was very hard to grip the piano wire with like your little claws, but it was pretty good.
What did I miss? What did I miss? I'm lost.
He's talking about a spin-off game.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
But,
You said armadillo.
Yeah. But it was actually called Harmadillo because you're
got
harming
it.
people.
About a dillo of them.
There's the tagline. All right, copy mark.
Yeah, please.
Trademark,
We need to
copyright.
move away from this because I hate every part of this.
All right. Let's get into development.
Game development.
Nice.
I realize I don't really have any development notes.
Whoa.
This is going great.
However, one thing that's interesting, because they did kind of pump out the 3, Hitman 1, 2, and 3, on this new platform that they're doing, which is just like Hitman Interactive.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a few minutes.
So basically, they allow you to play all 3 games together if you own one of them, and you just like you buy the unlocks for the
other
rest.
ones become DLC or something like
yeah.
that.
It's kind of interesting, but it also gets really confusing in the store itself when you're trying to buy
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Because I bought one on sale once, and it was Hitman 2, and I didn't have the Hitman 3 launcher, so I downloaded the Hitman 3 launcher with the free first episode. And I had all of Hitman 2, none of Hitman 3. I was like, what did I just buy? Like, some of that stuff gets kind of convoluted.
Yeah,
but
my first impression of that was kind of confusing because
Yes.
that was I was like, do I have the right stuff that we're playing? I hope so.
The first couple times I launched the game and I navigated through like the games, the online modes.
You get a
like,
story, it says
into the
Hitman 1, 2,
into
3,
the
you're like, oh,
campaign,
God.
selecting the mission, like it's all
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
like cumbersome.
Yeah,
It's
hey,
ridiculous.
Hey,
Yeah, so there's 3 games in the series that they've like offered on this new platform that they've been doing, which is one of the first games to do that, in terms of like episodic content all in one spot through the course of 3 main titles. It was first released where you could just like download each episode, but then they actually started doing like full packaged games. All the episodes were coming out. Like for Hitman 1 in this series, it was, oh, this episode comes out this month, and then the next one's like $8 or whatever, a couple bucks, and then it like unlocks that and all the side missions for that specific area and things like that. Hitman 3, I think, came out in 2021.
It did, 2021.
Yeah, on all the modern consoles.
Everything.
You guys want to hop into the story?
Story.
We join Agent 47 after having defected from his former agency, the ICA, and going after Providence, a global Illuminati-type group set on world domination through oil, military, and other various corporations. Providence Group is responsible not only for the creation of Agent 47 as an assassin, but also the deaths of Diana's parents. The Constant from Providence kidnaps Diana after a few missions and assassinations of other Providence members, and shows her the truth that while Providence pulled her parents' number, Agent 47 is the one that punched their tickets. He then tries to turn Diana against 47, and it all seemed to be going according to plan, including Diana poisoning 47 with a neurotoxin. However, Diana had other plans. Knowing how the Constant works, he would want to examine and study 47. While attempting to wipe 47's memory, 47 wakes up, cuts and shoots a path to the front of the train he is being transported on, and at the front, the Constant tries one last attempt to reason with 47, but 47 is a man of his word and dispatches of the Constant. The end.
Yeah.
I am curious, like, how much of that story is touched on in other games, or if it's...
Yeah, so that was going to be one of my questions, kind of like similar line. It was just like, they didn't really lead into the story very well with like explaining previous games, or at least not that I caught. Like,
So, yeah, like...
I'm wondering if it's a jumbled timeline. Like, is this like 2 happens first, and then 1, and then 3, or...
No, it is
It's
1, 2, and 3.
so it's all chronological?
But 1 doesn't really go into 47's early life.
Okay.
Some of the original games is where, like, 47 is, like, just becoming an agent, and you're still like around the doctors and stuff that like helped create him, break him down, and turn him into like the super assassin that he is, and things like that. So that's like his first missions is like the original PlayStation 2 Hitman. Some of that stuff gets like hinted at and touched on in this trilogy, but it's not like the originals. I don't remember in Hitman 1 if you actually blow up Diana's parents.
Okay.
But that is something that you do in one of the games.
Okay.
Or it's like right after that. It's like dealing with the aftermath of that immediately, like getting out of the area and stuff.
Yeah, and I... sorry, I don't want to jump all over the story, but I had a feeling there's that one thing during the dream sequence when there's a bunch of people standing around you. I'm guessing that's all the victims across all 3 of the games.
And then probably some more, too.
Yeah, that's everybody. That's like
I mean, because they all look like unique characters.
Right.
And I noticed like the targets were usually unique looking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, at least for the story, just jumping right into the third without having the first 2 to kind of back it up, it's kind of hard to... I mean, it's not hard to grasp your guy going in and
it's a
killing
pretty simple
things.
story.
Yeah, for that, but I mean...
There's just not a lot of context.
Yeah, it seems like, it goes much deeper, but it's not really touched on too much. Like, whatever, like, the guy you were working with in the beginning who ends up getting killed, like, halfway through. Yeah. You're like, oh, okay, this is a guy that, I'm associated with, I'm working with. Oh, shit, he's dead, but...
I think he's actually the big bad of the first game.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can definitely see
like-
there's some sort of history there, but it's not necessarily just like, what did you guys do?
Yeah.
Which I get for like something that's continuing through the series, but
and this is kind of my fault. I went with like a little more recency bias for my pick for this instead of Hitman 1.
I think it's still fair judgment, though.
Sure, yeah. No,
You know what I mean?
totally is. It is not welcoming to new players.
Yeah.
It's for the story anyway. They
Yeah.
still go through like the tutorials and kind of show you what to do, and all of that stuff is there for you.
Right.
well, I think that the story is better towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
I think it's just
Agreed.
like the initial like 2 to
It's
3
slow,
missions.
like getting into it.
Well, where are you
well,
going
it's
after?
choppy too. Like there's huge time gaps. It feels.
Well, because you're just going after Providence members at that point. Like basically, like the end of 2 is you defecting from the ICA and then you set your sights on Providence.
So that's kind of where it picked up.
And like that's kind of what they're talking about. They're like where they're like, oh, like we have to like eliminate these like Providence people.
Okay.
I think like the first person that the last person that you kill in Hitman 2 is like the first Providence member that you go after, and then these are the rest, because it's like you go after him and then you capture the Constant.
Okay.
And then the Constant like escapes in the beginning of 3, and that's like what starts causing issues.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, yeah, it's. I think the story's like just okay. I think it's like even compared to some of the other ones, there's a lot better storytelling. Although I will say that last mission with the flashbacks and stuff, I actually thought was like the best of the missions, where you're like ripping through the train cars and stuff.
Oh yeah, I think the gameplay is awesome with that. It kind of made me feel about similar to what was that game? It was the second one where you're going through the train. Uncharted, thank you. Where you start at the back of the train and you're working your way up. It's a really cool concept.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's more gameplay though. I don't know, story-wise, I thought that was amazing, but like the gameplay aspect.
I like the flashbacks and stuff like that, like him trying to decide if he's going to kind of like give in to the neurotoxin and just like not fight anymore.
I like the still frame stuff. Where like especially where he's just sitting there and you see the girl or whatever Diana like mid run.
Yeah.
I mean it's used a lot in games when they want to do flashbacks, where it's like this moment in time, just pause.
Yeah. I want to say there was also a conversation at some point between 47 and the Constant, because the Constant knew about this, and like the players knew about this, and 2 that like 47 killed Diana's parents. That's like 47's real, like, I need to like kill him. Diana's like, no, we're not going to kill him. Like, we're going to like pump him for information, and then he gets away and blah, blah, blah. But like,
so he was trying to cover that up, essentially.
Yes. But his thing was, he's like, I want to tell her on my own terms. Like, I don't want you to tell her because it's going to be painted poorly.
Well, it sounds like you waited 3 games too late.
Yeah, for real.
Only that kind of a hard story to be like, oh, hey, I killed your parents.
But basically also 47, Diana was an optional target. That
She would have just been collateral damage.
Yes, and he like looked at the mission and he's like, there's no reason for me to kill a little girl, so he didn't. And that's like why Diana is still alive, and that's like his bond with her is like, technically I saved your life.
Like, technically I didn't take. It's like I didn't take your life
when I was contracted to. She's the one that got away, basically, in his long history of killing everybody and everything.
Just about everything.
I mean, as far as the third game alone goes, I thought it was pretty shallow, because like there is no backstory. There wasn't like,
there's some interesting like things that happen in mission that are interesting.
I wanted to touch on that a little bit, because it seems like
it's from one of them. I thought it was a fucking hilarious.
Just
moment.
like when you're tailing like people, their dialogue and stuff like that.
Not only that, like if you read the intel files, you get more information.
Sure, yeah.
There are like weird conversations you can stumble on if you're in the right area at the right time, kind of thing, which I think builds like an internal story to that mission, or explains the events of
there's
that
like stuff
a little
going
bit more.
on. Like the vineyard was really cool because they're all people from Providence. So you like, if you're like joining groups and like standing there and like blending in, you hear them talking about like 47's exploits and like, you know, did you guys like tail somebody and then go pick grapes and then go on a tour of the vineyard?
No, I was too busy killing people.
I did the picking grapes, and I didn't finish it from there.
I did a lot of the. I tried to do like all of the side stories within it, just because like it's more things to do. I'm going to get more out of the game. Had a good amount of time head start before recording this to be like, I can actually take my time with this game and let me go explore that a little bit more after I started getting the concept, which I'll get into some of that in gameplay a little bit.
Yeah.
But at least, yeah, I'll agree with Joe in saying it's like I feel like the Hitman story itself really didn't do much for me.
Right.
But within the missions themselves, I got more invested on, okay, well, what's going on with this target and the story around them and the people around them more than just like 47 going around and just finding really fun ways to kill people.
Same. Like, so in the vineyard mission, for example, you have to take out the male target's bodyguard guy. You can take him out. He like walks upstairs and is like smoking a cigarette. You can just like grab him, take his clothes, and then you get on a tour through there with Diana and the person that's trying to kill Diana. Mm-hmm. They're all three of them are on a tour, and they're just like walking around, and they're like, "Oh, look at this machine! You could like, if this safety was off, it's a grape crusher." And everyone's like, "Oh, let's take a picture in it." Yeah. And they're all standing there, and Diana's like, "Oh, let me see your phone. I just want to look how I look in the picture." And the lady's just standing there, and I'm like, "Fuck, I don't have the tool to like undo the safety to do this." So then we like walked up to the fermentation vats, and they're Diana distracts the dude and is like, "Oh, hey, I had a question about this." And they start walking down the stairs, and the lady like walks over and looks, and I just grabbed her by the ankles and dumped her into a vat of wine.
There you go.
The elimination.
You can also, I mean, at least now it's starting to bleed into the gameplay. You can lead the tour too.
Did you?
I did both. I was on the tour, and then for a lot of these, I'm like, I want to play some of these other like sideways because I would play through the mission first, just as is, and then I'll be like, okay, now this looks like I can kill people in different ways, so let me just go back and start playing with that. But yeah, you can either be the bodyguard dude and go on the tour, or you can
lead the tour.
You can like become the winemaker and lead the tour as well.
I was wondering about that. I saw an opportunity. I was like, ooh, do I kill him and take his clothes and try to lead the tour?
Yeah,
like,
like the first time I became the guy, like the tour guide, and then I wanted to try to go through it again to try to kill them in a different way within it, and I ended up being in the tour. I'm like, this works too. It's a different perspective or something, but
that will. Okay, that's more gameplay. We'll get into that.
Story's almost done.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. So my quote specifically is from one of the secondary targets. He's like the optional target in the first mission on the skyscraper.
Yeah, in Dubai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I need like a personal bodyguard," and blah 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 blah. And I was like, "Okay." And so I killed his bodyguard, took the stuff, and he like walks out to underneath like the big platforms and stuff that you're on, and he's like standing there, and he's got like these boxes with targets on him, and he's like, I could always trust a man who could throw a knife. And there's all these targets, and he wants you to hit all the targets. And there's 5 knives there. There's 1 guard, him, and 3 targets, and 5 knives. And I was like, all right, picked them all up. I was just like, boom, first target, second target, third target, took out the guard, and the guy's like, what do you do? And then just pushed him off the ledge, like knife in his fucking skull.
There you go.
Threw him right off. I just, that kind of stuff is like,
my fun one was at least just doing all the knives. He sends the other dude away and is just standing there stretching in front of the thing, and I just kicked him off the fucking skyscraper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think that would be good, like if we go through like some of the levels and some of the ways we killed people. So
yeah,
let's hold on to that one.
Yeah, we can. Do you guys have anything for the story? Did you guys have any cool little moments like that, Harry? I know you played the game like very just brute force.
Yeah, primarily.
So you didn't like.
So I listened to a lot. The one mission I did really explore and I enjoyed was the chateau,
the mansion where you can be the detective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of conversations and explored a lot of that one.
Yeah. Did you take on the role of the detective in that?
No.
Okay.
No.
You can go around and interview everybody. So you like interview the entire family.
Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of cool.
Pretty interesting.
Well, I was just hearing like some of the rich people complaining and like. The one person making a scene, and they're like, well, at least there's some excitement in the family now, kind of thing.
Yeah, because
like,
someone's dead. Like, yeah, it's fucking wild.
I explored a little bit on that one.
They're all scummy, awful people.
Mm-hmm.
So
I got that vibe.
Yeah, after I did the target that I was supposed to be there, on the way out, I killed every single person of that family. I was
there you go.
Yeah, I'm just taking them all out. Like, whatever. Like a one dude's just like sitting on his chair and he's like talking to like the butler. I just walked up to the back of his head with the gun. It's like, okay, easy.
First
Let's poison some wine and get into gameplay.
There you go.
Gameplay.
So what I will say, at least for me, is like with having a game where there's so much different stuff to do, or at least do things in different ways, that really gives me like the replayability. So there's like so many different ways you can take out your targets, or group them together, different certain ways. Like, okay, well, I want to be able to go back and I want to see how some of this happens. Now, granted, I didn't do that with every stage because 1 or 2 was just a little much, but at least like for Dubai, like where, for example, taking out the additional character by kicking him off the skyscraper. I didn't necessarily do it in a different way for him, but then there's the main target, the old dude. First time playing through, I poisoned his wine because I was trying to figure out how to do this, because I went in like our friend Harry here on my very first playthrough, and I just started like eliminating everybody like in stealth that I can. And then I kept noticing that it popped up about non-target killed. I'm like,
Subtracting from your points.
I think that's probably going to be bad for my score overall, so I'm just going to restart this real quick, and we'll go from there. But there was one, at least the first time I poisoned him, and then one of the other playthroughs, the secondary target and the main target end up going into a room together, and you actually engage like the lockdown for that room, so it's just like metal barriers, and it's just the two of them, you, and a screen pops up, and it's Gray, who's like, you did this and this to me, such and such, and now I have someone who's going to take care of you, and you just murk them both in that room together.
That's amazing. Like,
yeah.
So that is one thing that this game does with just like 47's precision. It's the idea of like all of these missions, you can do them any way you want. It's a huge sandbox. Every single one of these missions is just, there's multiple ways to do it. You can, like, be creative or as unimaginative as you want to, and you can get it done. Like,
you can throw an apple at somebody to distract them, or toss a coin, and they're like, ooh, must be my lucky day, and then you smash them in the back of the head with a hammer to incapacitate them with the hammer. So
yeah,
I'm cool with that.
It is the game's biggest achievement, I'll say.
It's the variety of it.
Just the variety. And like everything, like you gotta figure, these are like $60 games when they come out initially, but like the amount of like free stuff that they put out, like I ended up getting, like Hitman 2, for example. And all the games are like this, so it's not like, I'm just using the comparison. Hitman 2 is like the base, like 6 or 7 missions. There's like almost 40 side missions with a bunch of contract kills, which are like, they redo the actual, like, entire map, and they put somebody at the end that you're trying to eliminate, and like they completely reuse the map for completely different scenarios for these contracts and stuff. It's really fucking cool. Like, and that's all built in, and it comes out slowly, and it's almost like a live service that you don't have to pay for. It's really awesome.
It's just my experience playing through the game. I had fun with some of the missions. Let's say half, and I'll pick out the 3 that I really enjoyed, but I really hated the other 3. So the ones I did like were the mansion, the vineyard, and the train. I thought those were good.
Yeah.
Dubai was okay. It was like your intro one, but nothing wowed me on that one. I really hated the Chinese one where you had to go into like the lab underground.
The Neon City
in China
one.
And there was the German one, I believe.
the nightclub.
Yeah, the nightclub. That drove me nuts too. And it might have been the mission, because it was hard to pick out the people that were the agents you had to eliminate. So I just started murking everybody, and eventually the 5 popped up that you finally killed them.
The ones in that nightclub one that you had to pick out, if you like hold like R1 or whatever, it was always the guys with like the icon above their head.
Yeah, they had an icon above their head.
I don't know. Everybody was glowing white for me. Like everybody.
There was an icon above their head.
Yeah,
though.
there's a white ball.
Oh, okay.
They're the ones that can identify you because they know who 47 is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the mechanic, basically. If there's someone with like a white ball above their head, that means they're the ones that can actually blow your cover.
What's annoying about that, because the way they taught you in every other mission, though, is those are the ones from a crew that knows who belongs to their crew. So I was like if there's a head chef, he knows what
They
his
explained
mind
it without explaining it.
Yeah.
I think it's just a different context with that white ball, and they didn't explain the change in rules.
I did not like the nightclub one either.
Yeah,
that one I did not replay.
I liked the outside and the roofs of it, but like inside the buildings were just like
It was kind of a maze.
Yeah, I
it was
get
it was a
lost.
giant maze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does the boat count as a mission, or is that just like your
That's the intro.
the intro?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the
The
first level.
The tutorial.
Yeah,
Got it.
the true
Okay.
tutorial, yeah.
Got it.
Though I did like dropping a giant pipe on somebody in the nightclub one. I think that was like the only memorable kill that I got out of that.
Well, what was irritating with the Chinese one? I like going through the building, and I was like just blasting them floor by floor, making my way up to the guy, and they like knew I was coming, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when I was trying to get into like the key card doors necessary, that started to irritate me, and I had to like start shooting things to get people to open the doors for me.
Oh, gotcha.
Because I had searched over and over and over again for key cards and searched all the bodies. Actually, what was really funny though is I was killing so many people in there. There was body bags everywhere because I guess they put them in body bags and then they start dragging them away.
Yeah.
I had like piles and piles of just body bags, and like there'd be more people coming up to like move more body bags. They were just like whole teams just moving body bags. So that was pretty funny, but I hated that mission. I really did.
Yeah, that was the only mission that I really was like, there's not a lot of like truly redeeming about this, because all of the meat and potatoes of that entire mission is inside that building, and the inside of the building sucks.
Yeah, well, between like the two of them, because that was one. By that point, I'm like, all right, I'm really into like these side missions and whatnot, and then just trying to work in different ways to take out targets and what like for I forget what the girl's name is, but I even got to the point where like I went through and I was like the businessman, because like you could become it was like a business investor type thing who was investing in the company, and they take you on a tour, and then you can start getting access to key cards and other shit. And eventually she'll just be walking around and whatnot, and then you can go in the core reactor. You'll have to take out her guard, but then you can just flip her into the shit, like whatever liquid is down in there. That's how I got a drowning one on that one. And then with the guy, with like his Neuralink shit, I disguised myself as a homeless person who would get paid to do like experiments and whatnot, and went all the way up. And I reversed his mind thing and basically exploded his brain. And they were like, "Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. You can leave the building now." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I mean, it took a while, but that one had a lot of like side stuff, but I also got lost like a couple times just from like the sheer size of the map compared to some other ones. Like at least with the chateau, you know where you're going for the most part, and like looking at the map, it's like easier to navigate. But
that's an easy one to navigate. It's
Yeah.
just a couple floors and.
I liked China. It was weird that it was like two buildings that you had to go in, like two separate buildings, and like the tunnel system that was like through them and stuff. Like it was rough, but I did have fun traversing again the rooftops, because there was like so many guards there, and it's just like, oh, run around, stealth pistol, taking guys out, taking drones out, like getting bigger and better guns. And then when I dropped down to the lab, I opened the door, and her and the guard are just standing there. The first door that I opened, and they're just standing there talking. They were having like a private conversation.
Yeah.
Opened it, and they're just standing there. I'm like, oh, just laid them out with a fucking just loud ass gun. I was like, all right, cool.
I will say I did not kill any non-targets through the entire span after finding out on the very first one. And then when you get to the train mission at the end, and they're like, everybody's fair
Everyone's
game.
fair
I'm like,
game.
this is where I can finally let it all out and whatnot without being penalized for it. And then when Harry was talking about it, it's like, I just went fucking rootin' tootin' the whole thing.
How long did it take you to do a mission for doing non-targets? Or no non-targets?
Probably about like
45 minutes to an hour.
hour to 2 hours, depending on that. 'Cause
Mine were 13 to 15 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah,
Jesus.
It took a while because it's also where it's like, oh, you can go around and get like different intel and everything else. So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm like,
Were you playing on easy?
Halfway through, I switched over. Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna say, I don't think the run and gun is as viable towards the end because there's lots
even
of
on
guys.
easy. So I had like the vineyard was rough
Vineyard's
Yeah.
rough, yeah.
because I went back to there's that like the guards gate. So I was like, the first couple times I killed the target right after I got done that conversation because she's standing right there. And if you skip through the conversation really quick, she didn't get that far down the hill. So you can just turn around and just blast her. But you're getting fire from all angles. So I was like, okay, we need to change this. So after the conversation, I ran up to the gate, cleared out that house, and then I only have to face one direction for the fire. So I was able to like systematically go down the hill, killing everybody
Harry
just in
went
front
like
of
a
me.
fucking like full blown like army man
Yeah, he did.
style for this.
Oh, they had the better guns back at the guardhouse too.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. the train mission is probably like the most where I just kind of like let loose with everything because you can.
Yeah.
But like I was like going through and I was having fun with my own narrative of like I'm only going to use the weapons that I can find in the car previous on the people in front of me.
Okay.
So it was like really fucking awesome. And then you get to like all those fucking armored dudes and I'm standing there with like a shotgun and a rusty nail. I'm like cracked open this thing, set off pretty much a flashbang on all of those guys, and I'm just kicking them off of the sides because they're all just like, oh, and they're standing near the edges. So I'm just like, kick, take down like the last guy, and then the right before the last train, where it's like the office and it's all executive people that none of them have weapons. I found a knife.
oh god.
And I was just like, oh, okay. And just ran up to the first person, stab. And the person next to him was like, oh my God. And I'm like, you're next.
When I got to that one, I'm like, oh, these people really don't have any into it. But if I don't kill everybody on this mission, then I don't feel like I'm doing it right. So
Oh, wow. This is crazy to me. Because I'm like thinking, and I'm like, I might have killed 2 people on the train.
Oh wow! What?
You snuck around everybody.
Yeah.
oh wow, okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I just went full, like, there was not a single person left alive on the train except for the constant.
No, I killed like maybe 1 or 2 of the guys that you like can like identify
to,
you.
yeah.
Right, yeah.
Where I couldn't like go out the window and up and around or whatever, or like wait for them to path in a way where I didn't have to look at them. Maybe 1 or 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you can knock them out and get the non-target.
Yeah, I don't think I did that. I didn't honestly understand what that non-target thing was until Steve just explained it.
Gotcha.
So I cared very little about it.
Okay.
That's fair.
It was easy to play that mission that way, so I just did it.
Gotcha.
I saw it. Didn't care.
I just had all that pent up
It
aggression.
wasn't explained. I didn't really feel like digging into it, and I was just like, I mean,
there's-
I'm beating the mission. That's pretty much all I care about.
Gotcha.
There was people at the vineyard just because of the way they dressed. I had to kill them.
That's fair.
Yikes.
Fair. That's why it was more instead of like who I could kill. It's like because you can like knock people out and that's no problem. But they give you like so many different things to do that with. I kept trying to find the fun. You can knock somebody out with a banana. That became one of my favorites in the
Yeah.
vineyard because if you like go past like in the very beginning where's
food
that
cart.
that guard station, you can go through and like in an office there's just a banana sitting on a desk and I'm like, I'll take this, and I'm like, this is the first time I'm actually I see it like viable in my inventory. So it says banana, non-lethal. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? Like I can just like smack
Beat
people in the
somebody
back
to
of the
death
head
with a banana.
and
Well,
you can just
not to death.
smash them in the back of the head with the banana. They go down. Banana stays in your inventory, so it's got to be a very special banana to not just like
It's a metal
squish
banana.
It is a
It's a
metal
metal
banana.
Has
banana.
to be.
I wonder if it's a prop banana, like a plastic one, just like.
Maybe.
be.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. You give any regular person a bunch of bananas, I swear they can't kill somebody with that.
I'll figure it out.
You can totally kill someone with a banana. It's not by hitting them with it.
Yeah,
though.
it's not bludgeoning, but
Yeah.
you can find ways.
Blood in the back of
jam
your
it down
throat.
their throat. Yeah.
It's buttoning because it's in the butt.
Anything else for gameplay?
So I think I played a little so I played pretty stealth. I did some of the side mission story stuff. I did enjoy it. I ended up fucking him up every time, and I just was like, I just spent 25 minutes doing that. I'm not restarting this mission just to do that side thing again.
Yeah.
Well, there's the autosave.
Yeah, I didn't really. I was just like, I'm gonna keep going. Because the one of them, like the one at the mansion, I didn't realize how I fucked it up, or like that it was messed up because it like changes like the option or whatever, and I just didn't notice it.
Like certain actions change, like how
Yeah,
you can do.
like it's like, oh, you can no longer complete this now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some of them. I mean,
But yeah, and like so, I played very stealthily until I got targets eliminated, and most of the time, fucking rootin' tootin' my way out of there, basically.
Yeah.
Love me some rootin' tootin'.
did my job, get out of here.
Although the exits on the map were fucking hard to find.
Yes, they were.
And I almost want to say that the icon on the map isn't there, and it's only on your HUD.
It is only on your HUD.
because there's some of them, like you actually, so like example, Chateau.
Yeah.
The first time I played through, I killed that old bitch by, like, she went out to visit her own gravesite.
Yeah.
I killed. It's like I knocked.
Sounds appropriate.
Yeah, I knocked her out, threw her in the grave, and then buried her alive.
That's amazing.
And then I'm like, well, I already knocked out like the pallbearer, like, you know, whoever's the funeral director. I want to leave in the hearse, so I had the hearse keys, and I'm trying to like go up to the hearse and leave, and I'm like, it's not letting me. What the fuck? So I just went out and walked away, and then I had to look up online right after, and then for some of them you have to beat it once, and then
It unlocks them,
and
yeah.
then it unlocks like all
The other exits and shit?
exits. Yeah,
It's a game meant to
Interesting.
be replayed.
Yeah, no, I totally get
for
that.
sure. So another thing that was interesting too is like the mansion, for example. Once you beat that, and if you get a level 4 in that, you unlock the lockpick, and you can take that into a bunch of different scenarios.
like start off
and
with
it's
it.
such a huge bonus. Like so,
it
like
is.
getting those points and unlocking that stuff actually really changes how you can play the game, which I also think is really cool because it's built-in replayability.
Yeah.
kind of switches it up a little bit, and then so you don't have to grind through to get all that shit in the first place, and just be like, all right, well now I can kind of skip like 20 or 30 minutes in a mission of, you know, having to look for everything and get
Yeah,
that.
because you can just pick your way through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
You're like, oh, I'm a well-equipped assassin. I can actually be much more efficient in what I'm doing.
yeah.
So, Steve, you said you wanted to go over some of your favorite kills?
Yeah, some of the fun kills. Not so much on Dubai, because that was just kind of like getting into it, and then, you know, I replayed it again, but I didn't explore too much. And then I think it was the Chateau. So I killed her by throwing her in her own grave, burying her alive. And then also when she was up in her office, there was like the giant chandelier of antlers.
Yeah.
I crushed her with that. I did try doing another playthrough where you can go as the side mission as the photographer.
Yeah.
And electrocutor. I was not able to pull that off. Yeah, that made me sad. And then other fun ones were the Vineyard. So I did play the Vineyard a couple times. So the female target, I crushed her with the Grape Crusher, and I thought I was going to get in trouble with that because it was ads. They were like leading you around. It's like, oh, let me go in and get a closer look, and she did. And then I didn't wait. I'm just like, boom, hit the Crusher and kill her, and it alerts people, but it's not like, oh, you did that. They were just like, oh,
Yeah.
we're on alert. It's like,
Freak accident.
all right, I'm just going to walk away for a little
It's weird.
bit.
A safety mechanism failed.
Yeah, exactly. I also trapped her in the freezer with the tour guide. So there's like when there's like here's like our subarctic like cooler for all the other stuff, and as soon as they walk in, it's like, oh, close it. And Diana's even like, that's even harsh for you. It's like, I taught you better than that. He's like, got the job done.
That's cold, 47.
Yeah, yeah. That would have been a much better line.
Amazing.
And then I also did have the sniper team take her out because you can like disguise yourself as like one of the undercover like bodyguards who are kind of like around, and they're sitting on top of the like a silo with sniper rifles, and you can actually take someone else's earbud, like one of the other security dudes, and be like, oh yeah, that's the target. And they're like, all right, let me know when there's a clear shot. And then she and Diana are up on like a perch talking, and you're just like, that's her. They're like, okay. And then all of a sudden you just hear a gunshot and her body goes fucking flying down into the grapes and shit. It was so awesome. And then the main dude, I don't think I really got too creative with him, but I did find one of them where it was like by matricide. So I actually got his wife to kill him because with like the backstory of that one where, you know, he's an important person, but she had like a political career. Turns out he threw her under the bus for something to benefit him that killed her career. And you can place these documents and let her know it's like, hey, this is what really happened. And then they're up on the balcony arguing, and she pushes him off, and he drops down to the ground and just dead.
I love how fucking in-depth this game gets sometimes.
I lied. There was another one where when you can review documents with him in his office because you disguise yourself as the lawyer, you can actually take his head, and there's like a fancy pen holder, and like slam his head on the pen holder to kill him. And then awesome. Another one is actually that I did was you knock him unconscious, you drag him outside, and on one side of the building there just so happens to be a wood chipper. So you have to make sure he's still alive but unconscious when you put him in the wood chipper, and then it's like press to start. So you go boop, just like blood and shit just out of the side. And then I finally unlocked where I took his boat to escape once, I took his car to escape once. So that's at least where some of those replay shits. Yeah. And like one of the bonus missions or that you can have for that is like stealing the 3 different types of like high vintage wines and such. And as soon as I got those fancy bottles of wine, I just started using those as my bludgeon weapons going around. So I'm just
paladin.
Like, I'm just like smashing people down with a bottle of Merlot. I'm like, this is the way it's supposed to be.
So I got to the point where he welcomes Diana up to the office or the secret meeting.
Yeah.
And I infiltrated the secret meeting as the guard that sent her up there in the first place. So I got in there, and there's just like a whole table of people. And if you just like kind of like navigate the sides of the room, because every single guard in there has like the white dot, so they'll recognize you. I'm like moving past barrels and stuff, and I just see that there's like this perfect opening of like just his head, and then I look right behind it, and there's a door. I open the door. There's one waiter there. Killed the waiter, or knocked the waiter unconscious, so his clothing's there. Walked back in the door. Shot the dude, walked out, shut the door, changed clothes, and then walked out to the exit.
It's like, quick costume change. I'm good.
Yeah. Well, what the hell's going on in there? Just like walking away. And then I danced with Diana.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I never made it into the meeting. I saw that was a thing. I'm like, I didn't get there. And by that point, I started playing our next game. So I'm like, I'm not going to go back, but that's cool.
Isn't that how you finish the one with the winery? You have to dance with Diana?
Oh,
yeah.
That's the only exit,
wait,
right?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's right. Because you're like outside and you have to dance with her.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how she poisons you.
Yeah. Well, I thought when it was in the very beginning, when you're like when you can go up and you're talking to her, like looking over, and then she just like touches your hand. I'm like, they did a close-up shot of her touching your hand. That's going to come into play for something. So I thought that's when she just like got him with the neurotoxin because she was wearing a glove. He had bare hands.
Oh, maybe that is when she actually planted it on.
I don't know.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, but it's like they made that little part stand out so much. I'm like, I feel like I feel like something's going to happen by the end of this.
It makes sense because neither of them were emotional people.
No.
So
No.
Though I'm wondering for the end when you're going after when you finally get the constant, because I think there's one or two different ways you can take them out. Because I don't know if you can just kill them because I only played the train once.
I only played the train once as well.
Yeah.
So what did you guys do with the constant?
I don't fucking remember, honestly.
I choked him out.
Yeah, like
I stabbed him with the memory serum.
Same.
Oh,
And then-
yeah. I did that too.
And then he's
Okay.
just like, oh, I'm sorry, were we in the middle of a discussion? Like, he doesn't know who 47 is. And I thought it was very poetic because he was just like, fine, it's fine, you can kill me. I'll die knowing exactly who I am. And he just fucking stabs him
No,
with
you
the memory
won't.
serum. Like, no, you won't.
Fuck you.
Like, wait, what are you doing? No, you won't. Yeah, I let the constant live. Just not knowing who the fuck he is.
Yeah.
Agent 47 is the variable.
Look at you. Look at you, Harry. I like that. You little
Fancy science.
science, bitch.
Mathematics. So,
I will say for some downside of some gameplay, real quick. Trying to target on some of these items when there was like one or two around was a fucking nightmare.
yeah, it was a little bit of a pain in the
You
ass.
could have like a door like more than 90 degrees out of your focus, right? Like you're looking one way, the door is like not to your right, but almost starting to be behind you, and it would still be like open, and you'd have other things in front of you.
I can appreciate like fun physics, but when I kill somebody and they're next to a sliding door and I have to drag their body away to then open said door, it's annoying.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't think I've experienced any of that. That's wild.
There was one
Yeah,
where it was
Doesn't
like
surprise me though.
in Dubai, there was the reporter guy, and like one of them was like, take a picture to show that you killed him. It's like, I just knocked him out, but I just like snuck him. Like the first time I tried doing that, I just snuck him into the bathroom and just like fucking hit him with a wrench or whatever I had. I couldn't close the door to hide the body. So I try to like go over to close the door and his body's just in it, like just his head. And it like goes to like almost shut and then it just doesn't. I'm like, and you can't like position him or turn him in any certain way. I'm like, looks like I'm restarting from my last save on this one.
I had a really fucking funny thing happen. So like, you know, there's like full ragdoll physics, but they also are very bendy. So if they hit something, they spring.
Yeah.
I was trying to dispatch a guard in Dubai, like in the plaza, basically, like where you're first kind of getting in there. I'm like, all right, and I'll just dump him over here. He falls like 5 floors, and then no one will see it because like you can't access it. It won't do anything. I go to dump him, and his hands get caught on the rail, and then on the ledge underneath of it, and he springs and literally hits the other guard that's on the walkway about 10 feet, like sprung over, like, alert, alert!
It's like, oh, shit.
I was like, son of a bitch. The guard immediately turned around and was just like, oh, God, 3 guards behind me. I stood no chance.
Yeah. Yeah, I will save that. Playing on professional, which is the mode I was on, it's like being
Same.
able to just have like the unlimited saves for it. It's like for trying to go back and play through again to do what I wanted to do. That was great. I
Yeah.
needed that. Otherwise, I would have wasted a lot more time trying to do that and probably wouldn't have played as much as I did.
I found the controls very difficult with this game. There's a lot of like stickiness, especially the crouching. I was like, there was a lot of times where I just wanted to run away, but it would just get stuck.
Yeah, the auto crouching was weird sometimes
That was
too.
very
Yeah.
annoying.
Like if you're running and then you like vault through a window or over something,
He's just crouching.
you don't keep running on the other side. You're just crouched.
What are you doing?
And you're like, no.
Let's get out the piano wire and strangle graphics.
Graphics.
I thought the graphics were okay. I didn't really think there was anything too terrible that I noticed. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you know, like I think it's a very serviceable game. I will say some of the environments at certain points are like very breathtaking. Like the vineyard, when you're just like standing there and looking at it, like it looks fucking awesome. But like when it comes to like the actual character models and stuff like that, then it's like a little more just run of the mill. I wouldn't say they're incredible by any means.
Yeah, I mean, like when you were in Germany at the nightclub, sometimes like it was like, I get it, it's a nightclub, it's at dark, something, it's at dark.
It's kind of a shit nightclub too.
Yeah, it was a rave. It was a warehouse rave.
Yeah, that's fair.
The punks reminded me of the punks from Road 96.
A little bit, yeah.
It kind of did, yeah. Sometimes it was just a little difficult to see, to actually be able to navigate where I was going, on top of just having a confusing place.
Because it was 30 floors vertical.
Yeah. It's like, let me run up all these stairs. Wait a minute. I'm like,
And the map has more than one floor sometimes.
yeah.
I vaulted and oh god, I'm dead.
Yeah. It's like, this is a little rough. But I mean, it's nothing really that, I was pretty neutral on it. Like, it wasn't bad, not like over the top, but it was like, this will work for what I paid for this.
The graphics, I think they're okay. What they remind me of is like the Barbie movie, or like Barbie in the Toy Story movies. Like, the characters look good, but they look very plastic. Like, there's a very, like,
They all look very matte.
Yeah, like their skin texture is very smooth, very glistening, like, no imperfections, just like...
They're all supermodels in the Spy game.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
I thought the most jarring thing was the Constance hairstyle, where it was just like this weird buzzed kind of thing going on. I was like, really? Like, one of the most powerful people in the world, and he's just not...
They always
got a weird money on
buzzed
haircuts.
head.
They always have the shittiest haircuts.
Yeah.
So they're not spending money on a good barber.
I do like the environments, and that pretty much dictated whether I liked the level as well. I think
totally.
Because the ones I wasn't impressed with the environment, I wasn't impressed with the level at all.
I found a correlation.
Consistent design.
I will say, so I noticed a similar thing, and this is 100% one of my complaints from Bloodborne. Enemies move fluid. I know. Enemies will move fluid when they're within a certain range, but beyond a certain distance, their frame rate is like halved. That's
a pretty common thing for console.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
they do that in a lot of
honestly,
games.
this is the only second game I've really noticed it, though. Especially at the vineyard, looking down that street, like all the way down that street. I had already alerted people at this point, and there was all these guards walking out of that parking lot. I don't know if you remember, off to the left, there was all these cars.
Yeah.
Standing at the top of the hill and watching the guards move there. They were like very like rigid.
Interesting.
And it just looked so weird. And I hated that aspect about Bloodborne as well. Like when you see enemies beyond a certain distance, that just they move so like rigid. But yeah, other than that, nothing really. Like, the environments were nice for the most part, but nothing blew me away.
Yeah.
I did play the PS4 version of this game.
Oh.
So that probably had some impact on the
that
look
probably,
of the game.
It probably did, for sure. All right, so how about we silence a pistol into audio?
Audio.
Again, nothing really that stuck out too much. One thing over the other. Stuck out. Whatever.
I heard stuck out.
Yeah, I said stuck out.
I think some of the actual like writing for the characters was kind of interesting. Specifically 47. 47 is actually like really fucking funny if you like dry humor. Like, just his like responses to people where they're like, oh yeah, you think you could handle like taking somebody out like that, and he's like, I can always try. Like, just like
it just has
just
these little
like,
things. Yeah,
it's like just subtle hints of like, I'm the most dangerous person in this room. Don't fool yourself.
like my quote where that came from the chateau, where the butler is taking you, like walking you around when you're under as going around as the PI, and he's like, and remember, she doesn't want word getting out that she's still alive, and that's where he's like, that's fine. I'll consider her dead when I leave anyway. I'm like, I see what you did there. He's got quips.
I can be very discreet.
He's got
Like,
quips.
Just, yeah, just like little things. Or also the butler's like, the butler's like, "Oh, it's pretty awful. I don't know if you've ever seen a dead body before." And he's just like, "I've seen a few." Yeah, like, it's just like little subtle things like that. Like, I actually really appreciated some of the writing for the characters. Like, they're all like pretty. I didn't think anyone was like really terribly like monotone or anything like that. I felt like it's a lot of conversational dialogue, and there's not a lot of like acting required. So I don't feel like anyone was like overacting anyone else, like that kind of thing.
It seemed kind of fluid, a little more like naturally with the way it goes, and I'll give that to them. Aside from when you had to go through like some of the checkpoints and get patted down, like you may have like the regular, "I'm sorry, sir, this is just protocol, I have to do this." And then you have, "Yeah, you like that big boy, don't you? You used to this." And it's just like, the fuck? Are you just like insinuating things just because you're the one touching me and you're telling me I like it? Maybe you like it. I mean, I did just come a little bit, but come on, man.
Little cumsies.
Little cumsies.
Just a little cumsies.
But it would be like when you're in the middle of fucking Italy or Spain, wherever it was, for the vineyard, and then you just have like a New York Bronx guy talking about patting you up and down. I'm like, I understand he's a security service, but they're really flying this dude in from the fucking Bronx to do this. But when he said it,
"Hey, old Ricky, we got a job for you." It's out in Spain. "All right, do I get to touch a dude's dick?"
But I did
count me in.
I did believe he really wanted to touch my dick. I felt like his heart was into it. Whoever did the voice acting for
So was your hard.
Yes,
your hard was in it too.
Yes, all day, every day.
Penises.
Yeah, you got it.
So I think where this game actually stands out is his sound. Actually, to me, with these like stealth games where you kind of have to figure your way around and really investigate the environment, the overall atmospheric sounds in this game were fucking top notch. Like, directional audio is like a huge thing for me, and this game excelled at it so good. Everything sounded like when you threw coins and stuff like that, right? Like, the direction was correct. Like, it was louder if it was closer. Like, you could barely hear it if you threw it far. Like they did all of that very well.
Did you play with headphones?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I play every game with headphones.
I should probably start like doing that. It's just playing on the TV, you really don't get like that much out of it. So I could really see like it would be like a little bit when you're saying like kind of like the directional. Yeah, it's like I'd be able to pick it up a little bit. Like if I'm walking, I could to the left, and there's a crowd to my right. You can kind of notice it when you're playing on like TV speakers, but
yeah, no, you can tell like if they're like to the right of you, or to the right of you and in front of you, or to the right of you and behind you. You can definitely tell.
Gotcha. Where it's like hitting like in the back or something. Gotcha.
Yeah. Like they did a very good job with it. And trying to understand where people are at, people's footsteps on different surfaces, like all of that was done very well. Like people, walking through rooms, like if you overflowed the sink in a bathroom, right? People walking through it, like that sound was really good. Like they just did a very good job with all of that shit. And to me, in these types of games where you're potentially slow moving, you're in an environment for an extended period, like those things really help.
Jeez. Yeah. I didn't pay attention as close as Joe did. So
playing with headphones is a game changer.
It's a different game, basically.
Which would be
audio
great because we're playing games.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I don't have much to say about the sound. A lot of what I was judging it on was based on the cutscenes, and I honestly I didn't love the acting in the cutscenes personally. It seemed like a short movie trailer every time. It wasn't like a.
That's basically what it was.
Yeah, essentially what it was. But
Diana voiceover, go.
Yeah, it was just odd.
47.
It's like. Because a lot of those were like extremely fast paced as well, which is a complete contrast to like way the missions should be played. So it was like this big jarring.
You got this long mission stretching out over an hour, and then you come boom at the end. It's done.
I don't.
It's all about the foreplay.
Yeah.
It's always about the foreplay.
Mm-hmm.
Not for Harry.
No, it's like all I need is 2.5 minutes. I'm getting this shit done.
Yeah, Harry played this game like he has sex, just trying to get that hot payload out as quick as possible.
Average time to completion winner right here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much more to say on sound. I didn't pay attention.
I mean, there was guns blasting constantly. Of course you didn't pay attention to the sound.
Yeah. Running gun.
Harry's like, oh, I'll flick a coin in the air. And
Actually, I didn't even flip a coin until like mission 6.
Oh god.
Wait, you can flip coins?
Yeah.
you throw
But
a
like
coin.
toss a
Oh,
coin.
okay.
Yeah.
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 If you do it short, he flicks
Just
it.
okay. I didn't never paid attention closely.
All right, let's dump our payload into final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Harry, go first.
Man, I mentioned at the beginning, I'm not a huge fan of stealth games, and it could have been a complete nightmare of a game for me if they didn't allow the run and gun. But I enjoyed running and just eliminating
you played it?
Yeah,
You liked your version.
Honestly, the mansion level, I got pretty damn close to killing literally everybody on the map.
Fair.
I don't know. I know it has the replayability built in. I had no interest in replaying any mission, though. It's just, I knew it wasn't going to be my type of game getting into it, but I still went in as optimistic as I possibly could. But yeah, it's not my type of game. It's like a platformer to me.
Fair enough. Joe?
I can say that I've played a Hitman game.
You guys had like completely different play styles too. Like you had
Yeah.
the polar opposites.
Uh-huh.
And Steve and I kind of were like the do everything we can, explore.
I said it in my initial impressions. Like, I'm good with 2 missions in like another game of this type, but like I am not seeking out a game where I have to do this and only this.
Well, you don't have to.
Well, sure, but like it's kind of the premise, right? I mean, the side missions honestly are where it's at. Like, I get that. Mm-hmm. They feel too involved though.
For minimal payoff.
I wouldn't say. I mean, I didn't complete any of them, and I spent well over 20 minutes in several of them. Which is why I was like, eh.
Steve?
I did have a lot of fun with this game. There was, like I said, there's a good amount to do, and I don't have to stay focused on the main thing. I can just kind of wander off and just in my own little like ADHD way, just the same way I play like open worlds. Mm-hmm. Though I will say, after like playing some of the specific missions, over like 3, maybe 4 times, there is a part where I think you can, as we joked about, like blow your load way too much on the first one instead of spreading it out. So like those side missions, once you do them the first time, they're like, oh, they're completed. You don't need to do them again if there like isn't a different way or something to go about it. And I think that kind of takes away from some of the replayability, or at least I know you can't ask to like, well, I want 3 different ways to play this side mission, which sometimes there are, like when we were talking about with the vineyard, where you can either be like the bodyguard dude or like the tour guide, but that's not really like with all of them. So I felt like after, like for certain missions like the vineyard, when I'm doing like a 4th replay to try to like kill people in different ways and whatnot, I'm like, okay, now it's like this, I can't come back here again, because now I feel like I'm just starting to get bored with it. But I played it 4 times, so yeah, that makes sense.
Then you go find a contract for it, and it just completely resets the map, and you're like, oh god.
Yeah, it's something where at least with that, it's like, but at least like this being like my first introduction into Hitman, like the Hitman series, and having this amount of options of things to do, I'm like, okay, cool. Like I appreciate that, and I definitely feel like I got my money's worth out of this game, and the enjoyment I got out of just finding the most stupid, inane ways to eliminate people.
I had a feeling Steve was going to like this game, though.
So did I.
It's a stealthy game,
I
and
know.
it's like I love stealth games for the
know.
most part.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I originally brought this game to the table, and I really, really like the Hitman games. To me, the gold standard is Blood Money, which was their first 360 title. I played that one endlessly, and I think Hitman 3 specifically is closer to Blood Money than its predecessors. I do really enjoy, though, that catching year 1, year 2, which is Hitman 1, Hitman 2 on sale for $10, and you look at this package of you pay $50 for 15, 20 missions, and then all of the side content and stuff. It's even $30 for one of them is I think there's a lot of content there, and I really do enjoy playing it. I really do enjoy that whole idea of unlocking something better, or starting in a different area, starting the mission from a different spot in a costume already, and things like that. It adds different perspectives and things like that, and allows you to get to certain things quicker. Overall, I had a really good time with the game. All right, let's dump all those scores into a vat of wine.
The score.
Steve, would you like to go first?
Sure. This is getting a solid B+ from me. It would be an A territory if more story was there, more than just the side and the main part of it. May just be the way that, I came into the series, but that's where I stand. But, I had a lot of fun with this game.
All right, Joe? Okay, I'll go. I think this game is worth the money. I think it's a buy. Harry?
Oh, man, you're not going to like my score.
The deep inhale. It's always
It's
the
a
prep.
4.
No, I'm going to go with a 3.0. I'm just not into it.
It's not. And not
Yeah, we could tell by your playstyle. Joe?
I'm going to give it a 55.
All right, guys. Well, join us in 2 weeks for a Mubbers, and stay lovely.
Stay sexy.
I love you guys.
Stay safe.
Get in that Discord.
Do it.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on social media and all streaming platforms at Superfun Podcast for more episodes. If you enjoyed the show, tell a friend about us and consider becoming a Patreon member for more exclusive content.